Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Slamhub Wrestling. Myself, Supreet, and this is your AEW Revolution 2022 review. And I'm joined by Kavit here. What did you think about this pay per view, man? I thought another great pay per view here in AEW. No surprise. I am glad that they delivered it to most to like they over exceeded your expectations here, but still overall a great pay per view. What did you think about it?
Hello, hello. Glad to be back and covering Revolution this time. And okay, about the pay per view itself, it was nice. I guess it was good, nice, decent, I suppose. I had some expectations and some of them were met, but some of them, you know, when it came to some expectations, I was left a little bit cold, I suppose, underwhelmed. I don't know, it's like it went match by match, moment by moment, I suppose. Let's, you know, I will get into more detail, I suppose, like in a few moments once we talk about each match.
I think. What did you mean by expectations? Did you see the bar that they raised at All Out 2021 and you were expecting that level?
Not really. Honestly, when it comes to AEW pay-per-view, Full Gear 21 was my favorite. All Out 21, actually, see, the thing about All Out 21 was that it had higher highs than Full Gear 21, but it also had lower lows. Whereas Full Gear 21 was just a consistently great wrestling show overall, except for two matches, of course. Let's never speak of the Cody tag team match and the Inner Circle street fight. But apart from those two matches, it was like pretty much a perfect show of wrestling all around, top to bottom. And I think I still had Full Gear 2021 in my mind. And, you know, like going into Revolution, I thought, okay, Full Gear is the show to beat. And I don't think they really did that, to be very honest.
And if they did that, but in a slight margin.
Mm, I don't know. I don't think they even lived up to Full Gear, let alone beat the show. Like maybe in a couple of instances, yes, but overall, mostly I don't think so. Not really. I wasn't really that happy overall when the show ended. Like when I finished watching the show,
But we'll talk
I
about
was
the
like,
entirety of this show with. But before that, if you are new to Slam Up Wrestling, then make sure to like, share, subscribe. Do all that fun stuff. Check out other content is provided in the description below. So I just learned that you didn't watch the buy-in.
yes, I did not.
Why, man?
I I usually don't watch the buy-ins of the pay-per-views, to be honest, because either I forget or I think they aren't worth the time. This time it was the latter. No, wait. Yeah, no, sorry, the former. This time I just forgot to watch the buy-in because I was kind of interested in the trios match and also wanted to see Hook squash QT Marshall. But, you know, the day came and I just wanted to get done with the paper. I just wanted to finish watching the pay-per-view, and in that I just forgot about the buy-in, unfortunately.
Can't blame you. It was a
That's
long day, man.
how it
It
went.
was a long day watching this show.
Yeah, yeah, it was a pretty long pay-per-view. It was 4 hours long, almost 4 hours long. So, you know, like combined with the buy-in, it would have been at least like four and a half, 4:45 probably.
But still, kind of
So
worth
I
it.
think like too much wrestling at the same time. It must be, but like at the same time, too much wrestling. It's just like there is a thing as watching too much wrestling at the same time for me. Like for example, I am also watching W Nitro at the same time right now. Just began watching a couple of months ago. But after watching the 4 hour long show yesterday, I'm not going to be watching it for at least a couple more days.
Oh, you're watching Nitro.
Yeah, I'm only a year in.
Uh,
I have reached September 96 now.
you are a year in. When did you start watching?
Um, I watched it like, started watching it sometime in December, I think. So in these, not even December. Yeah, December. Some early or mid-December.
Man,
So
you.
I have finished about a year's worth of content.
Man, I started watching. I tried to watch Raw, and I barely could get through 3 episodes.
Yeah, I tried the same. I tried watching Raw first, but I don't really think Attitude Era Raw is for me. Like, for sure, some of the pay-per-views, like, are good, like post 99, but like, most of the Raw stuff just feels too dated and not very entertaining. But Nitro, on the other hand, is entertaining as fuck. It is hilarious. It is chaotic. It's just all round good shit, pal.
Speaking about good shit, let's talk about some of these matches here on the buy-in. There are 3 matches. So one of them was legit Leyla Hirsch facing Kris Statlander. A little feud going on in their women's division, which has been okay, fine, and kind of a grudge match if you look at it, where we have a heel Leyla Hirsch these days. And this match, they gave it some time. It was actually good. And at the end, we would see, like, first of all, there was a really good spot where we had Leyla Hirsch. Sorry, it was Statlander who had Hirsch in a electric chair position on the second rope, and then we would see somewhat of a front face splash from the second rope. And as we would see Kris Statlander about to get the victory, as Leyla Hirsch tried to evade Statlander in this situation, and Hirsch would actually use what do you call it, that rod that you use for the turnbuckles. She used that and got in a, you could say, surprise victory. And there you go, man. The match was okay, but we had a different outcome with Hirsch getting a victory. I think they are having a rubber match, a series of rubber match, and at the end we would see Kris Statlander's friend Red Velvet coming out for a little save, and nothing much.
Wow, Red Velvet, huh? I mean, did she like somehow, make a botch while coming out to make the save? Because I wouldn't really be surprised if she did.
No. I think she's getting better.
I would hope so. I would really hope so, considering she is a signed talent. She is a signed talent, right?
Yeah, man. She's been working for a year now.
Yeah, like considering she's signed and has been on TV quite a few times, she should be getting better at this point.
The main event: Hook the Crook versus QT Marshall. This went 5 minutes. Was a really good Hook match. Story here was like before that, QT Marshall came out with this nightmare. No, it's not a nightmare, right? Factory stablemates. We also had Nick Comoroto over there. So he came out cutting a little promo, saying that he will teach Hook a lesson, something like that. Hook came out, huge reaction from the Orlando crowd. And the story of the match was QT Marshall was trying to get some offense, and every time he did it, Hook would counter with a suplex and a different variation of a suplex. And at the end, there was a funny spot where, do you know the spot where one wrestler, you could say, sends a certain wrestler to the corner and he runs towards that guy, but the guy who was running initially jumps over him, something like that? You get my point, right?
Yeah, I get what you mean. Yes.
So Marshall was going to do that, and he actually did it, and he thought he succeeded in this, but Hook didn't even move in this situation and locked in the red drum, which was hilarious. And there you go, my quick little victory for Hook. And yeah, man, yet another day for the Hookster.
I'm really happy that Hook actually made it to the buy-in of a pay-per-view. I mean, it's too soon for him to be on an actual pay-per-view card yet. At least for like the next two, three pay-per-views, maybe he can keep working, and maybe by the time we reach full gear, he can make it to the card, or on some mid-card feud in full gear. Who knows?
I could have used him in the main card, to be honest. I think it would have received well. 5 minutes, right? That was not much of the pay per view time.
Honestly, you know what? You're not wrong. I think I would have rather seen that than the Tornado Trios match, to be very honest.
We will get to that. We'll get to that. I could have replaced it with the TBS title match as well.
Yeah, the TBS title match was also something that could have been, done on TV instead of a pay-per-view. It felt like a very TV match instead of a pay-per-view match.
But there you go, man. Hook wins this match, and great way to use him in that situation. Another match we had. This one, a final one in the buy-in. The House of Black, Malachi Black, Brody King, Buddy Matthews, facing Penta, Oscuro, Pac, and Erik Redbeard, which I thought when he showed up at Rampage was one of the most random thing that they could come up with. But seeing what played out here, I could say that this is a one-off. I don't think they signed him, right?
Yeah, they haven't. He's just a placeholder till Phoenix is back from injury, right? So that they can actually continue the feud properly, I suppose.
So this trios match was. You were saying something?
Yeah, no, I was just saying this point. It feels like the feud is played out. They just completely botched the feud. To be very honest.
Yeah, I get your point. Yeah, I have that same feeling as well. But in a way, it is a really good mid card feud on TV. Is that the nice way to put it?
Yeah, that is pretty much how I would describe it, honestly.
About this trios match, though, it was really good. Had some fun moments. Crowd was into it, as you know. The crowd was actually was actually getting into the building as we got to the final match in the buy-in, and was super into all six guys here. Even Erik Redbeard looked good in this match, and they were having a typical PWG style of match where we also had Brody King and Redbeard have a little face down as the big man collided. Buddy Matthews looked great with Penta, and I think at the end, like everything was going great in this match, but there was this certain moment, and this was in the final moments. And by the way, this match went for a while, about 17 minutes or so. There was a moment where I think it was involving Redbeard and Malachi and Buddy Matthews. Everyone stopped, and I mean literally everyone stopped what they were doing. They stopped wrestling for at least a minute and was just staring at each other, and not the typical stare down in wrestling. The looks on their faces were like, what should we do next? It's like they missed their cue or something. They froze completely.
Okay, I have to watch this match. I am going to watch this match today.
So, finish of the match saw Erik Redbeard. So all of the heels were hitting their big moves on Redbeard here. So he hit a spin kick from Malachi Black, while Brody King hit his pile driver Gonzo Bomb finisher. And there you go, Redbeard was pinned in this situation. By the way, we had Buddy Matthews actually before this stomping Penta Oscuro. They actually call it the curb stomp right now.
I mean, yeah. Like in AEW, they do call it a curb stomp. I think it's just in WWE they prefer to remove the word curb.
So there you go, House of Black getting a victory here. It was a really fun 6 man, and yeah, I think at this point they are just waiting for Phoenix. Basically, this is a big trios feud, nothing much.
Yeah, like and all everybody involved in the feud is pretty much getting buried. To be honest, it doesn't even matter who's winning, who's losing. I just feel like both trios are getting buried at this point. Buddy Matthews barely came like 10 days ago and he's already getting buried with like this shitty ass feud.
Mm.
That could have been much better, but unfortunately it's not.
You could also do some singles matches from this feud.
Yeah, they could, but you know how it goes, unfortunately. I want singles matches too, but it's that's not going to happen.
And by the way, they look. It looks like they want to establish a trios division.
Oh my god, please no. Oh god,
You don't
please
like a
stop.
trios division?
I am not really too happy with the idea because I don't really like multi-man tag matches. They just like okay, fine, trios matches I can tolerate, but only if all the people involved. I like all the people involved. I don't even bother watching the 8 man and 10 man and 12 man tag matches. Even if like
No, that
even if
is
I
a
do
no,
like
no, that is far fetched. Then you are stretching.
yeah,
8 man, 12 man, multi-man.
I just can't, man. Even if I like every single person involved, I just skip to the match. I'm like, nah, fuck this. I don't have time for this shit. And I would rather spend time doing literally anything else than watch this overbooked clusterfuck of a match.
Uh, like I actually don't want like it's it could say I'm on both sides of the fences with trios championship coming in. I actually
Hmm.
not want them, but I think it could work in this situation, seeing how many tag teams they have. Like if you have 4 to 5 tag teams, a couple of guys having a small feud, a couple of guys fighting for the championships, and then there's the rest of them. I think it could work for them having trios titles, forming trios, and there are bunch of you could say groups and trios that could come out of if they really want to go in that direction. But as of now, they are really holding on, and maybe not right now, but down the line you could see trios titles coming in. But at this moment, they are just trying to experiment things.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I would rather see another singles title added to the men's division rather than trios title because the men's division only literally has two notable titles, right? The main heavyweight championship and the TNT title. I'm not even considering the FTW title because there's just like a title by name. There's like literally no significance to it. It's only going to be like held by members of Team Taz. So yeah, I don't know. I would rather see a singles title because trios title would mean just more clusterfuck matches.
We'll see how they introduce those titles when we will see it. But another newsworthy thing that happened on the buy-in was they had a surprise guest with Shivani was about to introduce a special guest here in the ring, and Kenny Omega's music hit, and it was a kind of a surprise. Uh, and by the way, there was something what happened initially before this, I believe, was in the Statlander match where instead of showing Statlander's Titantron, they actually showed Kenny's Titantron, and I'm like, what the fuck happened? Is Kenny showing up on the pay per view? But it kind of did, give you one indication. So what happened was instead of Kenny Omega, it was Don Callis who showed up finally. It's been a while, and the crowd booed. Crowd is hating Callis in this situation as they wanted Kenny Omega instead. And Don Callis got on the mic, was going on and on about, were you expecting someone else? Like Kenny Omega was going to show up at the pay-per-view, but when he saw the lineup, he was disgusted with some of the matches that were happening. Then he talks about the Elite will be winning, will be having a great night at the pay-per-view as the Bucks will be getting the tag team titles. We would see Adam Cole getting the world title, and who would make a great transitional champion when Kenny Omega finally comes in. And there you go, man. That was, I don't know what is the timetable regarding Kenny's return, but it was just a, you could say, thing where you said, yeah, Kenny Omega's injured and he could show up anytime, but I don't think it's soon enough. But
I think he will probably appear in a couple of weeks, but I don't think he will return to the ring just yet. Even if he does make an appearance, he will probably just like appear in promos and segments and like maybe interferences or whatever. But as far as wrestling is involved, I don't think he's going to be wrestling for at least 2 more months at least.
maybe
Because
after
it's
Double or
better to be
Nothing.
safe rather than sorry. Yeah, I think Double or Nothing would be a safe bet for like probably a return match. And another thing, I will be very disappointed if Omega returns as a heel. Like, if once he returns, it has to be as a babyface. There is no other way about it. Especially because of the way they had left things, right? On the Dynamite after Full Gear, the pre-taped promo that Omega and the Bucks had cut. Omega looked a bit more sobered up and serious, and it seemed that he is gearing up to turn face after a return. And I think that's how it's usually been, right? Like whenever a heel wrestler returns, like after a long absence from injury, they usually return as a face, as far as I've heard.
I think Omega will return as a face. Even got a huge reaction when they thought that he was going to come up.
Yeah, I think and Omega and Adam Cole feud sounds good, to be honest. I'm really hoping that's what happens.
That's what they are trying to tease, right? A big something to come out of that Elite thing.
Fingers crossed, man. Fingers crossed.
But there you go. That was the buy-in. Let's get into the main card, which kicked off with Chris Jericho versus Erik Kingston. And surprisingly enough, they had a really good match. And it began very big here. And by the way, Jericho's family was ringside. They didn't mention it, but they were there.
No, I did not notice.
They were in the front row, behind the hard
Oh,
cam.
okay.
And the hard cam was positioned very different here for this venue.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the opposite direction.
Hmm.
Like the entrance ramp was on your left side if you are watching on TV. Sorry, on your
Yeah,
right
yeah,
side.
true.
It is mainly on the left
Wait.
side, right?
Wait, no, I got confused between the left and right. And anyway, it doesn't matter. I don't think it matters. like,
This
Jericho's
match,
family,
like I
no.
said, was really good. Kind of, you could say, exceeded the expectations. So they started off big here. Eddie Kingston came out with a serious look on his face, like always. His demeanor is that he walks into a fight whenever it's a big match. The same thing he did with the Punk match, and it's kind of unique. So match started off big here, and Kingston, as the bell rang, hit a exploder, it was basically a half and half suplex, and Jericho landed square on his neck, I believe, and which looked
Yeah.
nasty. You were saying something.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, that's. I was just agreeing with you that it looked bad. To be very honest, it looked kind of bad.
And by the way Jericho actually looked great. He was like he was doing something different, wrestling something different. and which was nice to see. He's gotten himself into shape, looks decent, looks great, and which is very commendable. With the shit he was getting with the physical stuff. So about the match, so he hits the half and half suplex, and Kingston was trying his best to get done with this match. Looked like a fight. We also saw a vicious side of Jericho as well. Um, Commentators were talking about Kingston's all Japan roots, and he did all the big moves here with the chops and the suplexes. We also saw Jericho bursting out German suplexes at one point, and there was a point where Jericho was targeting the eye of Kingston, and for a while it became the story of the match. And let's talk about the big near falls here, where Jericho hit a code breaker, but got a 2 count. And same with Kingston here, where he hit his spinning back fist, and that couldn't get the job done. So as we get to the final moments here, there was a spot where they were trading suplexes and basically no selling it, and Jericho got Kingston in a surprise, like out of nowhere, another code breaker, but decided to not go for the cover. The walls of Jericho were attempted, but Kingston was able to make the ropes. So the final spot here was Kingston actually hit the back fist again, and he hit not once but twice. But instead of the pin, he decided to go for the stretch plum, which is another All Japan, you could say, influence with Kawada, I believe. So he locks in the stretch plum and was really wrenching into the submission, and there you go. Jericho taps out, and the crowd popped big for this one. Really good outcome. Match was good. And thoughts on this one, man?
I was really happy with the outcome of the match. Really, really happy. I think now that it's happened, it was pretty obvious that this was how it's going to go. But I still had like a bit of fear in my heart before watching the show that Jericho might decide to bury Kingston this time, because I don't really trust Jericho that much anymore. But yeah, I think this is what Kingston's first ever pay-per-view win, right? I think.
This
I'm not
is.
sure.
It was a big deal.
Yeah, it is. Like so far, whenever I think about Kingston in a pay-per-view, I can only think about him losing. For example, the CM Punk match, the Miro match, then like even the I Quit match against John Moxley at Full Gear 2020. I don't remember any other instances, but I'm pretty sure he must have lost if there were any.
He lost a
So
tag
yeah, I was
match.
really happy for Kingston. Oh, tag match.
Double or nothing.
I don't remember that one.
With the Young Bucks.
Oh yes, yeah, John Moxley and Eddie Kingston. Yes, how did I forget that? Yeah, so I'm really happy for Eddie Kingston that he finally got a big win in a pay-per-view. That is, really huge. And Jericho, like you said, he looks good. He has gotten in shape. I think he had received some advice from doctors because of some health scare he had received recently. That's probably what inspired him to, lose some of that weight. And I really hope that whatever those health problems are, they don't haunt him again. While I may not really like Jericho as a person, I don't wish any harm upon him, obviously. But yeah, I also another thing. For the love of fucking God, please just change his. I just want his theme music to be changed because I can't stand the crowd singing along to Judas. Fucking hate that shit, man. The crowd singing along to the entire goddamn song just ticks me off, man. I just can't. I have to skip through it. I just forward through that shit. I cannot tolerate it because I would rather just, like stop watching the show rather than continue watching it. I don't know. It's just, like these things that piss me off at this point. Maybe I'm just an angry person.
No, I don't mind it. I don't mind them singing to the crowd, but just stop panning to the crowd too much.
Yeah, goddamn. I'm an AEW fan and I hate the AEW fans who attend the shows.
That was a really great crowd, man, in Orlando, and was loud for the most part of it, but felt like they were getting a little fatigued, but were hot enough till the end.
Yeah. Like it was a pretty long show, right? Anybody would get fatigued. Anybody would get tired.
Um,
But
uh,
yeah,
po-
I like the match. I really like the match.
but the story here was the post match where they promised that if Kingston beat Jericho, then Jericho would shake his hand. But here, the funny thing here was Kingston, when he got the win, was celebrating. He, in a very sarcastic manner, offered the handshake. And Jericho, they were trying to build the handshake here, but Jericho decided, fuck it, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to, and walked away. So they are trying to continue this feud, which is okay in my opinion. And let's see what comes out from this one. But as we move along, we had the AEW World Tag Team Championships being defended in a three-way. The champions Jurassic Express against Redragon and the Young Bucks. And I don't know about you, man, but for me, this was the match of the night.
Hmm. Interesting. I mean, okay. I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I don't really like the Young Bucks that much. But credit where credit's due, I do like most, if not all, of their pay-per-view matches that I've seen so far, and at least the ones that I remember having seen. And while I did like this one to an extent, I feel like among all their paper matches, this one is was a bit underwhelming. I don't know.
That says a lot,
This
right?
one was also Spot Fest, of course.
That says a lot, right? When you say that
It
this
does.
was
It does.
one of
It
their
does. That really
underwhelming
does.
matches.
Yeah, yeah, it does because I think the ones I do remember quite a few ones, but yeah, like out of all the pay-per-view matches of the Young Bucks, this one left me a bit cold and just meh. I thought, okay,
Because it was
fine.
a
This was
three-way.
a fine match for what it was. I suppose because of that, because I think at some point halfway through the match, they just said fuck it. Like, like there might as well not have been a referee in the ring, to be very honest, and just decided to go at it. I mean, it was fun. It was like good, chaotic fun, but at the same time, I got kind of tired. And how long was this match? It was like, what, 18, 19 minutes, right?
About the
I
17-minute
think
mark.
it, yeah, I don't know. Like, sure, it was a three-way and all six people had to, like, get their time to shine, right? But I still feel like it should have been a bit shorter, especially considering, like, how long the overall show went, right?
This was
Like,
way
some
shorter
of the
than the other
fat
big
could have been
matches.
trimmed. Oh yeah. There were like a few other matches that went longer than this,
Yeah,
so
this
we will
was
talk
this
about
was
those too.
such
But
a fast pace that you didn't even realize where did the time go.
yeah, I'm just glad that there were no uh, botches that resulted in serious injuries because I I don't know, after Luchasaurus did that to Phoenix a couple of months ago, I am just worried now whenever I see Luchasaurus.
So
But yeah, like the outcome of the match was obvious, Jurassic Express retaining. But I'll be honest again, they haven't had a very memorable title reign.
uh, the story of the match though, with this being a three-way, and the funny thing is that usually in wrestling, I don't know, remember the last three-way that AEW had. I think they had one, but I don't know how they had the rules over there. But usually, rules of a three-way, I think a three-way tag especially, is that all three members of the respective tag team should be in the ring at the same time, right? But here they had only two guys, while the other tag team, the third tag team, were on the apron. So in this case, I think it worked with the story that they were trying to tell. Which the story here was basically it was the Jurassic Express were being beaten down by both Red Dragon and Young Bucks, and it was initially in this match, and they were trying to ground Jungle Boy in this situation, and they saved Luchasaurus for the hot tag, and as the match went by, and the Red Dragon were trying to steal the victory here, and Young Bucks were trying to notice it, and it got to a point where Young Bucks said fuck it, and they were not working together anymore, and they started fighting with each other, which kind of worked in Jurassic Express's advantage. And like you just said, they were pulling off some insane big moves here. Like we had I think Luchasaurus caught Nick Jackson in a goozle, was about to go for a chokeslam when he went for a springboard, but Nick Jackson, like nothing, hit a Canadian destroyer. There was something crazy where Jungle Boy did a 450 or a 630 knee drop on one of the Young Bucks, which looked insane. We had Luchasaurus doing a big springboard dive on all of the heels at one point, and there was a moment, man. Like there are one or two instances where they like made you believe that either Red Dragon or the Young Bucks were about to get the victory here. Especially Young Bucks, they were going insane, were taking out each and every member of the other teams and hit. I think it was Jungle Boy or either one of the Red Dragons with the BTE trigger. That was a really good near fall, and a bunch of chaos at the end. And it was Matt Jackson who ate the Jurassic Express, their double team move with the backflip and a power bomb. And there you go, Jurassic Express retain. I think it was a good outcome. Like I kind of predicted this with the Young Bucks Red Dragon. They should be doing their thing now that they are teasing something. And I don't think they need the titles right now. Maybe down the line, especially Red Dragon. So Jurassic Express retaining was good. And let's try to make their title reign a bit more interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, like, which heel tag team, like, do you think should be challenging them? Because, I mean, right now I can only think of FTR. I mean, they've had, like, their challenges against Lucha Brothers. But honestly, want FTR to get a proper, like, tag title reign this time instead of the 2-month token reign that they had gotten the last time they were champions.
Don't worry, man. If it's not the AEW, at least they will be winning the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles. Maybe at WrestleMania weekend.
I would hope so. I would definitely hope so.
Let's see, man. I think Proud and Powerful would be a good choice to get the titles of Jurassic Express.
Oh
Heel
my
or
God, they have been
babyface.
buried for so fucking long. Yeah. I like both those guys. They have been buried for so long. They really deserve it, man. If not FTR, then I think Santana and Ortiz would be my other logical choice.
Let's see how they handle this title reign. Like they were initially giving them some random title matches. They tried to feud with the Gun Club, which was good. A short little program over there, and this was a great match here. Like let's see how this goes. But they decided to follow this match. Like this is a stacked card, mind you. They followed with the Face of the Revolution ladder match. We had Keith Lee, Powerhouse Hobbs, Wardlow, Absolute, Ricky Starks, Orange Cassidy, and Christian Cage. All 6 guys has got good reactions, and the best way to put this match is this was a very fun ladder match. Like there were some things that could have been avoided, but fun ladder match overall. What you think about it?
Yeah, like you said, it was a fun match, especially uh, when you say fun. Like the very first thing that would come to mind is that fought by Orange Cassidy, I think it was Keith Lee and Wardlow who were holding the ladder then, right? Or was it Powerhouse Hobbs instead of Wardlow? I don't even remember.
Uh, I was about
Um,
to mention this, but
but
now that I said it, let me say give you the scenario. So what happened was Orange Cassidy was climbing the ladder, and it was the two big guys. I think it was Wardlow and Keith Lee. They got hold of this ladder, and with no effort and all, just tossed the ladder as Cassidy, was just at one point was just dangling to the ladder. Like it looked funny for a while, but all of a sudden he did a pull up and basically skinned the cat like you usually do on the ropes. He skinned the cat in this situation, did a pull up and was on the top of the ladder as these two big men were just holding the ladder, and the crowd just erupted. And for a while, it looked like he can pull off the Sonic ring or the face of the revolution thing that they had over. So that was a very fun spot. And uh, there was another some notable big spots here, man. Like we had Ricky Starks. So what happened was he hit a spear through one of the ladders on Christian Cage while Ricky Starks was just casually sitting on the second rope. That looked crisp as hell. Another notable spots were involving the big men. Like they teased this multiple times initially, by the way, with Wardlow, Hobbs, and Keith Lee. And Orange Cassidy was the one who was taking the shine away from the big guys. Hit all three guys with the shin kicks. And there was a part he even did that at the end, but he was tossed out of the ring into a bunch of guys, and Cassidy landed very hard on the mat. Like nobody couldn't was not able to catch him in that position. And by the way, Danhausen was there to curse Ricky Starks, I believe. So that screwed his opportunity to win the ladder match. Love that Danhausen. Back to
yes.
the big guys, man. So they were fighting like over the stage area on the rampway. So what happened was it was Keith Lee and not Wardlow, Hobbs were on the commentary side of things. They were fighting over there, and you could hear Jim Ross saying, "Go to the ring. You have to go there and get the ring or something like that," which was funny as hell. And out of nowhere, Wardlow shows up and tosses both Keith Lee and Hobbs from the staging area, and they both the big men went flying and crashing into a bunch of tables. So those two guys are taken out of the equation. Meanwhile, like I
What
said,
What's
Christian.
even funnier about just a second. What's even funnier about that bit was Taz just screaming at Hobbs, "Get him, Hobbs! Get him, Hobbs!" That shit cracked me up. Taz is fucking gold, man. I want Taz to succeed Jim Ross full time, and Jim Ross finally decides he's had enough.
Uh, but Taz is not a good lead announcer. We need a good lead announcer. JR is a lead announcer. He's just the color guy. Taz.
I mean, Excalibur does play by play anyway, right? JR is pretty much doing. JR is pretty much a color commentator, honestly, at this point. He doesn't really call the play. It's Excalibur who does that. So I don't think it would be much of a problem to replace JR with Taz.
You could depends if you could get someone else in that role of JR's.
Hmm, I suppose. I mean, I can't see anybody other than Taz, to be honest, because like Taz can also do play by play if he wants to. Like he's like very descriptive person when it comes to calling the plays. But I could be wrong, honestly. But I'm just very biased towards Taz.
So, like I was talking about the sport, there was another sport where Hobbs and Starks were kind of teasing that they're going to fight, but they decide to just climb the ladder, see who gets to the top first. As we get to the final moments, as the big minds are taken down, Wardlow finally showed up in the ring as Starks was looking like he was about to get the ring, but like I said, Danhausen came in. He kind of caused the distraction, and we had a spot where Wardlow basically did a high jump on all the setup ladders and just caught Starks and power bombed him very carefully and in a gentle manner, but it looked brutal enough, saying what Starks has been through, and you could see Starks was trying his best to protect his neck. You know what happened over there. So Wardlow would eventually
Oh
climb
yeah.
the ladder, got the ring, and there you go. He's the face of the revolution. A ladder match winner got the ring, earned himself a TNT title shot, which I think will be happening in 2 weeks or so in their St. Patrick's Day Slam, I believe.
Yes.
So
He has to win.
yeah, this match was designed to get Wardlow to that title shot. So great outcome.
I agree. I totally agree. I am really happy that they did this. But just one thing, like Wardlow needs somebody who can speak for him, who can cut promos on his behalf. So I don't know. He needs like a good manager because that man, while he's huge and looks intimidating, he can't cut a promo to save his life. So yeah, like especially now that he's going to be challenging for the title and is very likely going to win it. I really fucking hope so
He is going
because
to.
like Wardlow losing to Sammy Guevara would make no sense.
If there's a
So
fuck
yeah,
up, if there's a fuck up situation, then I can see Wardlow losing the opportunity to get the title. Other than that, he is definitely becoming TNT champion, hands down.
yeah, it has to. Like everything that's been happening with Wardlow has been leading up to this point for him to become TNT champion. So just fingers crossed, hoping that it happens.
And we'll talk about Wardlow in depth as we get to the other part of the show. But up next, Tony Schiavone was in the stage rampway, and he had a kind of a big announcement. He talked about last year they signed Christian Cage was a big signing at the time, and there's yet another big signing. You could see the contract in his hand and what it read with the big bold letters of Swerve. And by the way, it was no
Yes.
surprise at all. So it was the realist Shane Swerve Strickland, who is the new member of the AEW roster. He is officially all elite. He's out there to sign his contract. And we heard from Swerve a little bit here on the mic. So what happened was, and I liked the way he was, really taking his time and was interacting with the crowd. The crowd gave him a good reaction, and they were doing the Swerve chants, and you could hear the crowd, do the whose house, Swerve's house thing, and Strickland played into this and asked the crowd, whose house, Swerve's house, whose house, Swerve's house. That was great, and there you go, man. Shane Swerve Strickland is all elite. What you think about this signing?
I mean, I like the guy. I mean, honestly, I only seen him in Lucha Underground where he was kill shot and he was pretty good over there. But I don't know. I'm just a bit underwhelmed at this point. But at the same time, since Tony now owns two promotions, right? He I would rather see him used in Ring of Honor than AEW because like I said, there's too many people in AEW at this point. Might as well have signed him for Ring of Honor. Or I think they'll probably have some of the pre-existing roster for AEW crossover to Ring of Honor full time. I don't know how it's going to work, but AEW roster is too bloated and some of the fat needs to be trimmed and probably go to the other go to Ring of Honor at this point.
I think they would
Because
do
I
that.
don't see what I'm sorry?
I think they would do that initially. Try to get some of the guys over there on Ring of Honor. I don't know what's the plans are for that promotion, but signing of Shane Strickland, I think they have big hopes for him because I heard that they actually want this guy to cross over in other media outlets as well when it comes to Turner and all.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they have big plans for him, and this was kind of a high-profile debut, and he looked great in this situation. Looked as $1 million, and he has somewhat of a mic presence, which is great. He's really good in the ring, really good package overall. So let's see how this works out.
Let's just hope he's not another lower mid carder, relegated to working on dark or dark elevation like Tony Nese and Jay Lethal and God knows who else.
Yeah, those two guys are missing of TV lately. Like they are not part of the rotation of guys that we see every week.
Yeah, they have pretty much been buried. Tony Nese especially, like I I didn't even remember him. I just like suddenly randomly came up with his name. I'm actually surprised at myself that I was even able to think of him.
Yeah, who knows, man?
He's been forgotten.
Yeah, I didn't get the Tony Nese signing as well. Nothing against the guy. Like, but you could send these guys to ROH if that's the case. If there's nothing at the moment planned for them in AEW.
Yeah, that's what Tony Khan should do. I hope he does that.
So moving along, we had the TBS title match. Jade Cargill versus Ty Conti. Ty Conti showed up in wearing some face paint, and we had Jade Cargill, a special entrance here. So we had a guy. Sorry, I don't remember this guy's name. So he actually did a guitar single to Jade's theme, which was good. And Jade Cargill came out to Mortal Kombat looking outfit, and that got a huge reaction from the crowd, which was great to hear. So this match we didn't go that long, about 7 minutes or so, which was fine for what they did. And the match began with a lip lock, surprisingly. And there you go, man. And Jade Cargill was mocking Ty Conti's judo background, called it karate shit, which was hilarious. So she was mocking Conti in the initial moments, and then we could see a flurry of offense from Conti's side as she was doing a bunch of pump kicks to take out Jade Cargill here. We had Jade Cargill do a really good looking splash from the top rope. So what happened was Anna Jay was there, and she was initially taken down by Cargill. Same with Jade Cargill's manager Mark Sterling. He was taken out by Ty Conti accidentally. So there was a side of revenge from Anna Jay, who used a steel chair on Jade Cargill, and Ty Conti was about to capitalize, but she failed. So at the end, we could see Ty Conti eating the Jaded from Jade Cargill. There you go, and it was fine for what it was. And yeah, man, nothing much to add on this. And Jade Cargill is still undefeated.
Yeah, like I said, it was okay for what it was, like a 7 minute long match which could have been shown on TV. It was just, I guess it was just thrown in to stack the pay-per-view card a bit more, like add, like since it's like a new title, right? They thought, okay, since this is the first pay-per-view since the title was introduced, we might as well include it in this card at least, even if not the upcoming pay-per-view card. So yeah, I mean, Jade Cargill, obviously she was always going to win this match, and I mean I like Jade. She is like attractive. She has the look. She has the body. She is believable as somebody who can beat the shit out of anybody. I mean, she has potential. It's just I guess she's just not ready for like a pay-per-view match yet. Which, I mean, even Tony Khan knows that since he just gave them like a short match to do, right? I don't know, man. This was a match, one of the things that the pay-per-view card could have done without, to be frank, to be quite frank.
Yeah, it was fine for what it was. It didn't look off or like the match was that bad and all. For the time that they were given,
mean,
that was fine.
It wasn't bad or terrible. yeah, it wasn't terrible or bad, and I'm glad it didn't go on for too long. But honestly, like even 7 minutes was like a bit too long, considering like like in this pay per view is something where like every minute counted, and like if they had even cut out like 2 or 3 minutes of this match, it would have been okay, I guess. Even the 7 minutes felt like an eternity, to be frank with you. Just I don't know, maybe it's just me.
Yeah, and Jade Cargill kind of gets better in these moments, and she's kind of heating up to the crowd here. Like she is getting some reactions, the heel or babyface. So that is good to see.
Yeah, yeah, she does know how to play to the crowd. That is one thing is smart about. I really like her for that. And I mean, you know, God, oh yeah, by the way, that outfit, holy fuck. God damn, man. I
I
I don't
believe
know, I just
I
felt
believe the WhatsApp group were simping over that. Did I miss that?
I haven't noticed the messages in the group so far, but yeah, like I don't blame them. I was simping over her as well.
Yeah, man. There you go. There you go, man. That was the TBS title match. But let's get to the nitty and gritty, man. The match that we were waiting most eager to watch on this pay per view. That is CM Punk versus MJF, the dog collar match. Uh,
Yes.
let's. What did you think about this match, man? Like, I thought as this match ended, I felt like this was really good. Like initially, like the you if you had the mentality that this was going to be match of the night, then you could have been underwhelmed for a little bit. But seeing the story, seeing what the feud was all about, seeing that it was a blood feud, seeing that it will potentially lead to a bloodbath, I felt like overall they did their job very well. It was they delivered on the promise, and yeah, man. Overall, I enjoyed it. It was good. It was kind of great as well. Give me your initial thoughts, man. And by the way, let me talk about the initial highlights before I get your thoughts on the match. So what happened was
Mm-hmm.
it was CM Punk who was originally supposed to come out with cult of personality, huge pop, but all of a sudden they cut to MJF's theme, and this was a you could say major troll job by MJF here as the crowd booed the hell out of this, and it was time for Punk's I could say I could say opportunity to show up. So he actually came out to the Ring of Honor thing that is from AFI, and he not only that he also showed up in his old Ring of Honor ring jacket, the whole shorts and deal, which looked insane. And if you are a hardcore wrestling fan for years, this is kind of a goosebump moment for you guys, and that theme is super great, man. It doesn't fit with wrestling themes, but it is super great to listen. It's
Yeah, so I am quite like the point you mentioned, a fan for years, but I'm like relatively a new fan, very, very new fan. I've only been like following wrestling for like 14, 15 months at this point. And I didn't even know this was his Ring of Honor team until I looked it up after the pay per view.
yeah,
But yeah, I still got goosebumps, like that's what it was meant to do. It was like, entrance, like CM Punk just deciding to swerve us by choosing like a completely different song instead of Cult of Personality. And I'm like, holy fuck, this looks cool. This is amazing. And as soon as, that song played, CM Punk came out, I knew right there and then CM Punk is going to win the match. I knew, okay, you know, this is CM Punk's match to lose. He cannot, like, MJF is not going to win this. Definitely not. And yeah, like talking about the match itself, I don't know if I uh, actually expected it to be the match of the night beforehand, but I think it is one of the matches of the night for me because I don't know. I just really enjoyed the intensity, the storytelling that happened. While CM Punk, like I wouldn't consider him among the top wrestlers, wrestling talent wise in the company. He's good, but he's not amazing. But he's an amazing storyteller. I mean, that's always been like one of his best talents. He's a great worker, and having MJF opposite him just like it made the match what it was. MJF is a great wrestler, a great technician. He like he's pretty much like great all rounder, MJF, and this was a great intense match. It was it had passion, it had anger, it had hatred, all of it. You know, it it was everything I could have asked for. I purposely didn't have huge expectations. I was excited for it. I am not going to lie. I wouldn't say that I didn't expect anything, but I didn't go into this thinking, okay, this is going to be the best match, because I knew if I did that, I would probably be setting myself up for disappointment. So I think this is one of my favorite matches of the pay-per-view, and the result being what it was justified, which was like something I called, something I pretty much predicted to my friends like a few days ago when Dynamite, when I finished watching the segment on Dynamite after MJF had slapped Wardlow. I said to myself and to whoever would listen that this is it. Wardlow is turning face at Revolution, and Wardlow is going to make CM Punk win the match. And I am so fucking happy that for once my prediction was true, and for once it felt like Tony Khan did the right logical thing. This is how it should be. And the best thing is MJF does not look weak in this loss because CM Punk did not win cleanly, right? I mean, as it is, it was a no DQ match, right? But Wardlow had CM Punk even further. So, this isn't a case where anybody could say that MJF got buried. He still comes out of this feud looking pretty strong. So I think it's a win-win situation, and now the record of both of them stands at 1-1. I don't know if how they're going to proceed with this. Are they going to continue the feud, or are they just going to leave it hanging for now, or is it completely done at this point? I guess we will find out this week.
Hold that thought. I will get to that in a moment. But about the match, did you feel like you were kind of, I don't want to say the term here, kind of getting bored in the middle parts of the match as this was going on and on? Like you could even feel the crowd was kind of getting reckless, but they were into it.
Yeah, I get what you mean, but that's the thing. When I was watching the match, I felt like okay, it dragged on a bit at the middle, but when we got to the closing moments of the match, I thought what, maybe that was necessary for because they have to pick up the pace, right? So it needs to get a bit boring for it to become a bit interesting later on. That's what my logic was, at least,
And
because I don't think it would have been possible for them to keep the same level of intensity throughout.
and by the way, this match was 26
Yeah, go on.
minutes. Yeah, 26 minutes. I think this was the longest match that was on the card. It was very slow pace, so
Oh yeah.
figure that out. And they started with that dog collar match here. So this is very hard, difficult match to work, man. How do you work and then keep your attention with a long chain wrapped around your necks with a collar, by the way? How do you keep all that and work a good enough match? God knows, but these two are great professionals here. So initially, when they started the match, Punk was teasing with the chain, and he decided to pull on the chain, and kind of got revenge on MJF what he did with Punk on Dynamite when he was choking MJF through the chains here when he was basically hanging him, and Punk was able to get his revenge in this situation. And initially MJF tried to escape, but he was tied to the chain, so he was trapped in this scenario. Punk tried to do something innovative here where did you notice the spot where he was just wrapping the chain and basically using like a pulley on one of the turnbuckles.
I remember that one. Yeah, that was some good shit. Yeah.
And the first time around he knocked out the gorilla pod, and he said fuck it. So he was doing that. You would see Punk, MJF actually escape in this call of creativity that Punk was doing, and there was a moment that you would see a lot of whipping. MJF finally used the chain on Punk to bust him open the hard way, or I don't think it was the hard way. Punk bladed actually, and I think he bladed very deep, man. He was gushing buckets of blood. Like, that was insane.
I'm sorry. I couldn't catch what you said last.
Yeah, he was gushing buckets with the blade job that Punk did.
Yeah. I don't think it was the hard way either, because the hard way would have been, God, that would have been a fucking shit show. It has to be bleeding, because, like, imagine trying to bust your opponent open using chains the hard way. Holy fuck, that would be opening themselves up to a fucking lawsuit, man.
Moxley did it once. Moxley did that in the first ever Revolution with Jericho when he won the world title.
No, I don't even remember that.
Yeah.
But damn, I need to rewatch that.
It is not.
Holy
You
shit.
couldn't
But
catch it on
I mean,
camera, but there you go, man. Moxley is an insane human being.
yeah, Moxley is just fucking crazy.
But about this match, another things where I think it was Punk who was working on MJF's wrist, so kind of affected him in the initial moments of the match. We see Punk hurting his knee at one point, and MJF was targeting Punk's knee at this moment. And there was a big tombstone spot where MJ was trying to tombstone Punk on the apron, but Punk reverses it, hits a tombstone of his own, and we also saw Punk busting open MJ with the steel chain, and was really getting uncomfortable at certain moments of the match. But there was a spot where we see the introductions of thumbtacks. I think Punk was about to go for a Pepsi plunge that was countered into a superplex on the thumbtacks, and basically Punk landed on his ass. So another big spot here was the involvement of I don't know. I think MJF couldn't get the job done. I think he hit the heat seeker, or am I mistaking here? So Wardlow was finally introduced as MJF called for him, and he basically wanted the ring from Wardlow, but Wardlow was not able to find the ring, and MJF was getting frustrated at this moment, and a distraction caused Punk to hit the GTS on MJF, and after that he basically landed on the thumbtacks, which was a really good spot. And after this, you would see Wardlow could finally find the diamond ring which was in his back pocket. Crowd reacted like they popped big for this moment. Like, this is the investment that the fans were in. Like, imagine that. So he finally got the ring. Punk took the ring, and MJF with the last, you could say breath in that moment, he basically spit on Punk, and Punk hit the diamond ring, punched MJF square in the head, got the pin. Then you would hear like Mussolini, like Kennedy, the theme playing out. Punk finally gets his redemption, man. And like you said, will this story continue? At this moment, I don't think. I think you could revisit this down the line. But right now, it's a done deal, man. And Wardlow finally got his revenge on MJF. And I think that's the big story here on Wardlow's, the thing that Wardlow did. And let's see where this goes. Wardlow MJF could be a program for the couple of months. Should be good. Great stuff.
Yeah, and like I was initially very frustrated uh, over the past couple of months where they kept teasing, like Wardlow's turn, but it never came. But you know what? I'm glad they made us wait for this because this was absolutely the right place and time for the turn instead of doing it earlier on TV. So yeah, I mean, this paid off really well. I hope, at least I hope it pays off, And um, yeah, I think MJF and Punk could probably revisit the feud once MJF has the AEW World title and Punk wants to challenge him. Obviously, Punk will lose
Wait.
because
Yeah,
he had.
about that. Uh, it looks like even Punk kind of pointed out that he wants the world title. So
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
please hold this thought as we get to the main event, because lot
Yes.
of possibilities right now with what could happen with Hangman Page.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll get to that as we get to the main event. But another great match here on the card. Like, this was a great match. If you exclude the three-way tag, this was another great match. But to follow this match was the AEW Women's World Championship match. This is Dr. Britt Baker, TMD facing Thunder Rosa, and you could blame the positioning of this match. They tried to have a good match, but you could feel the crowd was kind of exhausted. But even in this case, they were, trying to get
Yeah.
invested in this. Like, we hear dueling chants for both Rosa and DMD, the doctor. But overall, what did you think about the match and the
Mm-hmm.
outcome? I felt the outcome. This was the thing that was going to happen when we had Thunder Rosa pinning Britt Baker. I know we had a possible scenario that they could go 50-50.
Mm-hmm. Um. So yeah, like you mentioned, the positioning of the match. Oh fuck, man! It honestly screwed both Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa. Tony Khan needs to like position the matches a bit better on the card because this was an absolute injustice to both of them.
It was going to be the
Like
case.
to follow
Like,
up the
someone was going to take the hit. I think even uh, the TVS title match was in a good position for what they were doing.
I don't know. I honestly felt like they could have put the TBS title after the dog collar match. I would rather have had that.
Yeah,
Like
should have been
because
followed by a short match.
yeah, exactly because you could see right, Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa were doing their best to give us a good match, and the match was mostly like pretty slow paced, like according to Britt Baker's pace because she was pretty much dominating. I think it was because of an I read rumors that Thunder Rosa suffered a shoulder injury
Yeah, I heard that.
at last week Dynamite,
Yeah, I heard that.
and I think I'd forgotten about the injury at the beginning when the match was going on. So I actually genuinely expected Thunder Rosa might win this match because it's been 10 months now, right? Since Britt Baker has been holding the title. So it's pretty much like she's pretty close to losing the title at this point. It could happen at any point. Like could have been yesterday itself. Could have been at the pay-per-view itself, but it didn't happen. And like the near falls, by Thunder Rosa, when the referee was getting distracted by Rebel, both times, and I thought, okay, like Thunder Rosa may have failed these 2 times, but I think the third time she will finally get the win. But instead, she came out, she speared Rebel, she got back in the ring. I don't even remember what Britt Baker did, but pretty much that was it, right? Britt Baker got the win, and I realized then, okay, oh fuck, this is probably because Thunder Rosa is injured. I don't think they would want to put the title on somebody injured right now. So I suppose that was the logical thing to do, having Britt Baker retain. and with a new title at two at this point, this is a much better looking title.
Yeah, I was actually surprised that they got another brand new version of the title. I think this looks great.
Yeah, I agree. I like this better than the previous one. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, this was a good match. I mean, it was decent. It's just, it was just an unlucky thing that it followed the dog collar match because, like, obviously, yeah, I noticed too, the crowd were also like pretty cold about it. Yeah, sure, some of them are chanting Britt Baker, like, DMD and Sandoza, but ultimately it just fell flat.
Yeah, it
So,
was not as worse as when you follow a Royal Rumble match.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the crowd was into this. That was okay, noticeable, good for the crowd, great crowd.
Yeah, like they were like, okay, you know what, we don't like. I mean, might as well appreciate the work these two are putting in, right? So like that was a good thing the crowd did because I don't know. I just felt bad for both the performers. I was like, okay, this is a very unfortunate positioning on the card for them.
So you just mentioned everything, man. With the story being that lot of interferences from Jamie at a Rebel, and they were initially being taken down by Thunder Rosa. This is what led to the demise of Thunder Rosa. There was even a big near fall, where I don't know what she hit, but they really good gave a good near fall when Thunder Rosa kicked out of Britt Baker's one of the initial moves. So as she was getting in the ring, she got caught in a curb stomp by Britt Baker, and this is what led to Baker beating Thunder Rosa in this situation. She's still AEW Women's Champion, and still hope for this feud to continue because they have booked a Eliminator Championship match. Winner gets a title shot.
Oh yeah,
This is Thunder
oh
Rosa
yeah,
and
yeah.
Leyla Hirsch, and kind of a predictable thing here. So we are seeing.
It really is.
I don't know when they do this match. Maybe I heard that Battle of the Belts is coming soon again.
Battle of the Belts is in April, I think. But that Eliminator match is right on like this very week's Dynamite, I think, or maybe
I
next
think they are
week's
doing it
Dynamite.
this
I
week.
don't know. Oh, okay. So in that case, the title match is next week itself, the women's title match.
Could I don't think they could stretch it out.
So
Maybe I don't know what's going on, but this feud is continuing.
so Thunder Rosa versus Britt Baker rematch next week.
And
And I
seeing
mean, I
the
think
thing
it's
that they did, I think they are definitely having a gimmick matchup.
oh god. I don't know, man. I'll be honest with you. I don't want a gimmick match. I want a pure wrestling match. I don't want a fucking hardcore match, man. I don't want to see like blood and barbed wire and thumbtacks or ladders and chairs. I just
Yeah.
AEW have done way too much of this, man.
Now this is a rematch would work in my opinion. Now you could give more time, put it on a Dynamite or a Rampage. Maybe a Dynamite is better. That is a great spot
Yeah,
to be on,
exactly.
and try to put some hate on this feud.
Like the one gimmick I can come up with is they can make this a submission match. Like pure technical wrestling, but like just only you can only win by submission. That's it. No weapons though. DQs are absolutely possible, but just make your opponent tap out. This would make add to the feud because I mean it's a long feud, right? It's been going on for more than a year now. So yeah, I think a submission match would be good, especially since Britt Baker didn't get to win by lockjaw, right? She won by curb stomp.
Yes, she did.
So I think they can have Thunder Rosa win by submission here.
Let's see where this goes, man. I think a rematch would be a better thing. Let's see where that goes as we move along quickly. We had John Moxley versus Bryan Danielson. Kind of a match that we were looking forward to, and I could even blame this match to be positioned in a very bad spot, but I think uh, it was a bad spot and a good spot as well. But overall, I like this match. So story of the match is they promised us violence. We even heard a "We want violence" chant from the crowd, which was great. And basically,
Mm-hmm.
even Moxley was trying to out wrestle Danielson at some of the moments. We had a point where Danielson basically kicked Moxley in the gut, and Moxley just went basically died at the moment. Very concerned look on the referee's face, and that was the whole match, man. They were being stiff, no weapons involved, by the way, being stiff by the wrestling aspect as
Yeah.
well. That was the entire thing. And what did you think about it?
I liked it. I mean, I think uh, match on the card before, like, watching the pay-per-view. I think it would have been better suited to have been the opening match because it would have pumped up the crowd a bit, like it would have set the tone for the rest of the pay-per-view. But like I do have like a couple of minor complaints with it as well. For example, one, it went too long. I think it went on for over 20 minutes, right? I'm not sure.
I think it around that much.
Yeah, so considering the length of the pay-per-view, like I've already mentioned, this was a match that could have used some trimming, like I think by 4, 5, 6 minutes maybe. And yeah, like by the way, did Danielson bleed as well? I just wasn't able to figure out. Was it Moxley's blood that got on Danielson's
So
face, or was it
yeah, so
like?
even commentators mentioned that same thing. Like the after the wrestling thing was done, they went to the outside trying to trade. You could say tope, suicidas and all. They started fighting
Mm-hmm.
and basically simultaneously hit forearms, knocked both men out, and Moxley got bladed. And I think
Yeah, yeah.
Danielson also did that, but not much to show as the match went by. Just a like a
Mm-hmm.
minor cut. That's it. No blood.
Mm-hmm. I think that makes sense considering Moxley hasn't bladed in ages and Danielson bladed in the uh, a couple of months ago in the title match, and Danielson's blade job was really, really intense back then. He must have said, you know what, fuck it. I don't want to go this big this time, so I'll just give myself some minor cut or something.
But talk about Moxley's blade job, man. Like as the match went by and they were trading submissions and all, and we would see Moxley like they were even stomping, like where Danielson stomped. Someone said this time it was
Mm-hmm.
Moxley who was stomping the hell out of Danielson, and that got a huge reaction from the crowd. And there was a moment where Danielson locked in the triangle choke on Moxley and basically punching the hell out of the gash, the wound that Moxley was cut from, and you could see Moxley just another
Oh, yeah.
sick visual. Like the Punk visual was another thing. This guy was topping, kind of topping Punk's thing that they did earlier on. So as he has him in the submission, there was a moment
Mm-hmm.
Moxley was about to pass out, but Moxley counters into a roll up in said submission, and there you go. Basically steals the victory here, and Danielson couldn't believe the outcome, and they started fighting all over again, and chaos broke out. Crowd wanted them to still be
Yeah.
fighting, and security came out and tried to calm down the
Mm-hmm.
situation, and all of a sudden William Regal walks out, and the crowd went insane for Regal here, and he came in, tried to be the peacemaker here, and basically was headbutting Moxley's bloodied head, and that was insane. So he calmed down Moxley with a simple slap. Crowd powered big for that one, and Danielson was basically laughing his ass off like, "You deserved it, man." And then he Regal turns to Danielson and slaps him as well. Another big pop, and he wanted Moxley and Danielson to shake hands, and there you go. That finally happened. Another big pop. So insane situation, man. William Regal is all elite. What you think about that? That was a big surprise on the paper.
I am so fucking happy, dude. When I saw William Regal, I fucking like Swerve fine. Like I like Swerve, but holy fuck, this was the debut. This was the debut of the night. This was the moment of the night for me. My favorite moment of the night, to be honest, seeing William Regal on AEW. Because when he was released by WWE, I was like, Tony Khan has to get this man. He absolutely has to get this fucking man because William Regal is amazing. I love this guy. He's a like fine creative mind, and please, I swear to fucking God, Tony Khan has to use him. I marked out, man. I fucking marked out when I saw William Regal. And yeah, like uh, this is this is this feud has got some legs. I don't know if it's going to be a feud or an alliance at this point. But like since William Regal has also like put himself into the storyline now, and I really hope he also like helps out behind the scenes and tells Tony Khan what the fuck he should do and what he should not do.
Bas-
I'm really fucking happy. This was what I wanted all along.
yeah, he is in this storyline in some fashion. They talked about the history with both these guys that Regal has, and
Yes.
on I don't know what he's going to do on screen with this thing, but he's definitely another coach in the coaching department that they have. So he's a great guy in that position. Like he has done great stuff with what he was doing in NXT. So take
Mm-hmm.
that experience to AEW, and that's a great signing, man, by Tony Khan. You could
Oh yes.
basically say this is a master stroke.
Oh yeah, definitely. Holy fuck! I mean, who else as a wrestler has Tony Khan signed? Because over the past few months, because William Regal alone has been better than like most wrestler debuts or signings over the past few months made by AEW. I don't even like. I mean, I'm not even exaggerating, man. This made me happier than most wrestler debuts over the past few months.
Yo, there you go, man. Another NXT guy that is safe to say on AEW television. I wonder what Triple H felt when he was seeing this. I hope he's happy, but deep down inside, he's hurting, man.
Honestly, yeah, I'm sure he's happy.
He has to be happy,
Okay,
but
I think
deep down in that cerebral assassin, you could say ego of his, he's hurting. He's heartbroken.
I don't think he's as heartbroken about William Regal being in AEW rather than he's heartbroken about William Regal let go from WWE
Or is he
because like
or
that
let me rephrase that. Or is he heartbroken that his power has been taken away by his father-in-law?
yes, yes, that's pretty much like Triple H's legacy has pretty much been erased, right? Like you can barely see Triple H's fingerprint on the show anymore. It's a completely different show now. Like
I
what
feel
is
bad
this
for him
NXT
sometimes.
2.0? Same. I mean, it's weird, like
But at the same,
feeling bad for Triple H.
yeah,
It is very weird thing.
but at the same time, there is a section of people that say he deserved it for all these years. This is karma coming back to him.
Yeah, so that's another thing. So, like, sure, Triple H may have deserved it. It may have been karma and whatnot, but like, the difference here is like other people still suffered here. Like back when he was a wrestler, he was burying wrestlers, right? But now when he was running his own brand, like fine, stripping Triple H away from power and all fine. But like there's so many like wrestlers and talents and like backstage staff also that were let go one by one. So like again, like these people lost their job, like and Triple H is still there. Like I mean, sure he doesn't have any power anymore, but he still has a job. I'm sure he's still like getting his paycheck.
That's the main
So
thing, right? The money.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I wouldn't honestly. I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of the year, Triple H also. I mean, he won't be all elite, but he will just say he's had enough and just leave WWE.
Yeah, he can start Lucha Underground again. But anyways,
Maybe
man.
he and Eric Bischoff and
Yeah, fuck Eric Bischoff. About William Regal. So looks like he's doing something with both Danielson and Mox, and the visual of this was
Yeah.
really fun. And let's see where this goes. Apparently, Danielson and Mox are a thing now as a tag team. They said that they are a tag team now. So let's see where this goes. But
Yeah. This is interesting. Yeah.
anything you want to add as we move along?
No, I don't think so. This is, pretty much I agree with you.
Um, a tornado trios match. Darby Allin, Sting, and the TNT champion Sammy Guevara facing Andrade El Idolo, Isaiah Cassidy, and Matt Hardy. So Texas Tornado, man, no rules. You can basically this is false count anywhere in a trios match. So initially the and by the way they had a video package, a Darby Allin video where he's basically doing a funeral for the AHFO, the three guys here, and all of a sudden Darby interrupts the funeral here, and we had Sting showing up with a flamethrower. By the way, there was a car that was basically tossed into one of the trailers here, and we had Sting showing up with a flamethrower, and there you go, man. They basically ruined a funeral, and Sting said it's showtime. Very creativity when it comes to these videos by Darby Allin. Don't you agree? It's insane.
Yeah. I like the Darby Allin vignette.
Yeah,
I do like them.
it doesn't make sense, but it is creative.
Yeah, I mean, they're just supposed to be chaotic, They're just supposed to be like, chaotic nonsense, but they make sense for like his character, right? He's just like a chaotic person who, like, who is just like living life like the way he wants to live. Fucking crazy shit, like makes no sense how he's going about things.
So about the match, it was very chaotic. We had assistant Jose. He was sat on a chair with a trash can on his head, and Darby did a tope con hilo. So Jose is dead, and all of the guys were fighting on in the crowd in the staging area. We had Mark Quinn showing up to assist Isaiah Cassidy to take out Sammy Guevara. So as they were fighting in the crowd, we had Butcher and the Blade even showed up to do a multi-man beatdown on both Sting and Darby Allin. So two crazy spots here. Let me get to this. One of the spots where is regarding Sammy and who's the other guy? Isaiah Cassidy. So they were fighting in the staging area near the rampway. So they set two tables up, and they were fighting on top of this what do you call it? The stage area, one of the tunnels, to be precise. So basically, Cassidy was going for a high flying move, but he saw Guevara climbing up the ramp. They were fighting initially, and you would see Sammy hit a Spanish fly on the set of tables. He basically missed the first one and landed on the second, but it was still brutal enough. Like the third was insane. And at this moment, I believe Cassidy was legit hurt, or both Sammy as well. We didn't see them for the rest of the match, and it kind of reminded me of the Matt Hardy Sammy incident.
Yeah, I started speaking when I was on mute.
Yeah, basically
Um,
that's Sammy Isaiah Cassidy spot reminded me of the Matt Hardy Sammy spot.
yeah, at all out. Yeah,
Yeah,
my God, they should stop doing table sports, man. Fuck, man. Like, either like train them better first, like have some fucking development center, or like just
it looked
they need to fucking stop.
yeah it looked great, but it was scary as hell.
Yeah, it looked great, but I mean, it's not. It didn't look safe. I don't know, man. When I saw that spot along with the Sting spot where he jumped on. I think he jumped on Andrade, or was it Matt Hardy? I don't remember.
So the other that was
Uh,
the other spot where we so these two guys had two tables, right? Here we had at least 2 to 4 tables, and they were Darby and Sting were fighting off Butcher and Blade. On the other side, Matt Hardy and Andrade. So it was Andrade was positioned on one of the tables here, the three set of tables. So it was Sting at 62 years old. He basically jumped from a floor site and landed. Basically, did a splash on Andrade through the set of tables, and it was actually looked kind of safe, but there you go, man. 62-year-old Sting doing crazy shit. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, man. No, man. I just firstly, this match shouldn't have been on the pay-per-view card in the first place. I wasn't really a fan of the match. I mean, I liked some of the people involved. Like I like Darby Allin, I like Sting, Sammy, etc. Andrade, but like this match had no business being on a pay-per-view. I
Like,
guess it was, I don't know, it worked as a palate cleanser before
yeah,
the main
yeah, it was
event.
chaotic enough, but still some minor things that could have been avoided. And that Sammy Isaac as table spot was scary. I will repeat that again. And once this
Oh
was done, they finally got in the ring. It was Hardy and Darby Allin. Darby Allin finally hit the coffin drop on Hardy here. Or did he? He didn't even connect.
yeah,
He didn't even
yeah, he
connect.
did not.
That was a
The
major
top
botch
of
up.
his head barely touched Matt Hardy.
Yeah.
Honestly, Darby went to the wrong corner to make the coffin drop. He should have gone to the other corner where he could have actually done it more perfectly. So I was surprised when he went there. I was like, oh shit, how is Darby going to make this huge fucking jump? And I was right, he did not. He was not able to.
That's what I said. This
Like,
match was filled with chaos, and some things could have been avoided. And yeah, man, could
yeah.
make argue that this shouldn't have been on the card. I agree completely, 100%. But they decided to give you that three-way tag. Three-way match for the TNT title at Rampage, free on TV.
Yeah,
That was
that's
great, by the way.
fucking
That
what
match was great.
I I like same. I like the match. Like when the card for Rampage was announced, I was thinking, okay, why the fuck is the TNT title three-way? I mean, I guess it makes sense because TNT title on TNT, but like fuck that shit. Like AEW hasn't really worked by logic, right, in the past. I mean, why start now? Like, might as well have the TNT three-way match on the pay-per-view. It is actually a pay-per-view level match. And like this fucking shitty, chaotic ass match could have been on Rampage instead,
Uh,
which
but
is what they have always done
But I
in the
think,
past.
but I think they really wanted to get the big names in for this match, and really wanted to make each and everyone happy in this situation. So there you go, the three-way TNT title match at Rampage, and this big six-man at the pay-per-view. So there you go, man. It
Uh,
wasn't that much, but chaotic enough. So let's see where this goes. Apparently, Jeff Hardy will be making his debut at the upcoming Dynamite. Let's see if that happens or not.
Probably will. They're probably just counting down the days till the non-compete expires. So like as soon as the clause expires, Jeff Hardy will be outside the arena, just waiting to be let in by Tony Khan. I'm pretty fucking sure of that. So yeah, I think we can expect to see him like on this week's Dynamite.
So I hope nobody got seriously injured, by the way, from this match.
Oh
And
man.
let's get to the main event, man. Let's get this done quickly. We had Adam Cole, Baby, facing Hangman Adam Page. Hangman defending the AEW World Championship. This was a really good match. Like, no investment in this match with the build up and all. So, but they still managed to give you a solid match here for the world title. Not a great caliber like the Danielson level or the even the Kenny Omega level of match, but it was good enough.
Hmm.
So Adam Cole showed up in I think Excalibur, tried to explain in Halo themed gear, but it still looked confusing as hell. For a second, I thought he was
Yeah.
doing a Johnny Gargano tribute here, like what in the name of NXT. But and there
Hmm.
you go. I think there was a moment where Adam Cole got confused where the hard cam was when he was doing the boom. Like he had to turn around to find where the hard cam was. And the funny thing was, the cameramans were struggling to get a shot of Adam Cole. So the crowd was into this match. Like you feel that they were getting reckless, but they were into this match. Like always, if you even have a dead crowd, they managed to show some support to these guys. So which is a great stuff. So another applause for the great crowd here in Orlando. So the crowd was basically chanting, "Let's go Adam, let's go Adam," and this was the whole theme of this match, man. We were getting "Let's go Adam," "Adam sucks," then we would hear "Holy Adam" chants, and when they decided to have the "This is awesome" chants, they said, "This is Adam." Bro, I was dying from the chants that we were hearing.
Man, I I honestly have less to speak about this main event match than I had to about the others, because I will be very honest. By the time I reached the main event, I was tired. I was fucking tired, man. I can't even imagine being one of the crowd over there. Especially since they also had to sit to the buy-in. I didn't even do that, and
Yeah,
I was exhausted at this point.
I think even JR was.
I
I think when JR was excited, he started questioning, "Is that a new title belt?" The commentators got confused
Oh
for a
my
moment.
god! Oh fuck! Yeah, yeah. That
Yeah,
was a bot. Yeah, yeah.
it was not a botch, but it was funny. And someone did a good follow up, said that he has shined the belt very properly.
Yeah. I think it was Shivani. Yeah, yeah.
So the match
I
was
don't know,
fine.
man.
Like I said, it was fine. Like it was not that great and all.
Yeah, yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
So
Uh, I,
yeah, you were saying something?
yeah. So I think it ran for what 25 minutes, right? Like it was the second longest match of the night,
Yeah, it did.
probably. Just just a minute under the dog collar match, and I think I forwarded to at least like 5 to 8 minutes of the match in the middle. I just couldn't get into it that much. It wasn't a bad match. It wasn't terrible or boring, but I just wanted to get the thing over with.
Yeah, basically
I
they
was
had a
like,
good TV
yeah,
match on paper.
yeah, 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 pretty much, pretty much. This was like a uh, good match. Like it would have, if it was a dynamite main event, it would have been a great match.
So, some good wrestling initially, as I just talked about how the crowd was interacting with regarding this match. Good wrestling from the get go. We had Adam Cole kind of evading Page here. So he was trying to target Page's arm, which he uses for the buckshot. Initially, in the initial parts of the match, we had, like I said, big moves being exchanged. There was a really cool spot where Page was going for this moonsault, and Cole catches him with a super kick mid moonsault. Looked great, timing was
Oh
perfect.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like
That
Adam
was
Cole's
perfect.
super kicks are really great when it comes to timing. So
I agree.
more big moves being exchanged as we see Page hitting the dead eye, but couldn't get the job done. We had Adam Cole, and this is when Red Dragon showed up, as Adam Cole was not able to take down Page in the moments here. So a Panama sunrise on the outside on the floor, and yet another Panama sunrise, and he also hit the boom, which couldn't get the job done. So basically kicked out of Adam Cole's finisher here. So Red Dragon decided to introduce tables here, and this actually backfired as Page hit another dead eye through the table here, and basically hurt himself in the process. So
Yeah, he did.
what happened was, even Page was about to go for Adam Cole's finisher, the Deadeye, kind of hit it, and that couldn't get the job done as well. We had a moment where Adam Cole was going for attempting the boom again, but basically Adam Cole collapsed, so that was kind of a good storytelling over there. Uh, Page got a little revenge from Dynamite where he tied Adam Cole with his belt and was hitting a
Hmm.
bunch of super kicks. So the finish saw Page was finally able to hit the buckshot lariat, and 1, 2, 3, and there you go. Adam Page is still the AEW World Champion. And by the way, I forgot to mention, as this match was really picking up, the crowd was getting into this. I kind of sense that the crowd was booing Hangman Page here.
I didn't notice that. Huh.
Yeah, you wouldn't notice
I
that because
mean,
you're tired as hell.
yeah, of course, yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, I wasn't even listening to the crowd at that point. I was just like waiting for the match to be over.
Yeah, and you could
But
add, if this build up was a little bit more interesting, like they did with Page versus, sorry, with Punk and MJF. Even Bryan versus Danielson had some investment. Then could have been
yeah,
a better match, but still managed to give you a solid match. Both guys great workers, no surprise. So Page retains. They did a little code of honor thing where Page decided to shake Adam Cole's hands when Adam Cole was just dead in the ring, and that's how the
mm-hmm.
pay-per-view went off the air. So my question to you is, what's next for Page here? I know Adam Cole will be doing his thing with the lead. So CM Punk.
I don't think so. I think it will be another heel. But I don't know. Apart from the Bryan Danielson feud at the beginning, Hangman's title reign has also not been booked really well. It was good till the Danielson feud lasted, but once that was over, and that ended like 2 months ago, right?
Yeah,
In these
yeah.
past 2 months, Hangman's title reign has really not been that remarkable because Tony Khan has been more focused on, like, I don't know, new signings and, like, announcements and watching the definition of Forbidden Door and whatnot.
No,
I just,
the best way to put it is that Hangman's title reign has been great in terms of the matches. Is that the right way to phrase it?
even that, I would say only counts when you consider Danielson. But other than that, I wasn't a fan of the whole Lance Archer feud or match.
Match was
It was
good. The
very,
matches are good if the feuds fail.
I don't know. I didn't like the match itself because like there was no reason for a fucking death match. What the fuck? Like there was no build up, there was no feud, there was no intense storytelling or hatred or rivalry. They were like Lance Archer just decided to one day come out and say, okay, I'm challenging you for the title. Yeah, like and they decided, okay, let's have a fucking death match because Lance Archer is a death match guy. So okay, there was absolutely no reason for this kind of match to happen. If you're having a death match, there better be a good reason. You can't just randomly throw one. I mean, I don't know. They could have had like a regular match at least. Lance Archer is not a bad wrestler, so he could have done like a regular match without having to resort to this hardcore shit.
Archer is a brawler.
But hey, I mean, he is, but he can wrestle. Like unlike Moxley and Kingston, who are very limited in the ring, Lance Archer has a bit more range, but he still prefers to use weapons and shit, which is disappointing considering he is not that bad. But hey, just I was like pretty much, yeah. Apart from Danielson, Hangman's title reign has been forgettable. Even the matches haven't really been that great or anything like over the past 2 months. So yeah, I think MJF. I think it's MJF is going to be his next challenger, and probably they will have some kind of placeholder feud before because there's still like 2.5 months to go, right, for Double or Nothing.
So in that
And I
placeholder
think
feud position,
title.
do they put Punk in there when MJF is busy with Wardlow?
I don't I think it will be another heel only. I don't think Punk is feuding with Hangman Page right now. I think Punk will feud with MJF once MJF wins the title. I have a feeling. So like you said, they might leave the feud for now, the Punk and MJF feud, which makes sense. Like if MJF is going to win the title, so Punk can pursue him then, and like MJF can retain the title over Punk because like MJF has to go over, right? Punk is a veteran. He doesn't really need the title to go over or anything. Punk isn't getting buried by losing a match.
Yeah, this is a critical situation, right? If you start a Punk and Hangman title picture, then you get to the position you have to take the title of Hangman
Yeah,
because he
exactly. And
is
like
in the first moment these two are in the ring. He is overshadowed by Punk.
yeah, exactly. So I don't think it like Punk losing to Hangman doesn't make sense. Punk losing to MJF makes sense. So I would rather have MJF take the title of Hangman and then maybe Punk, coming in to challenge MJF. Or okay, what about Miro? Is he still injured?
He's injured, and that's why he's still stuck in the multiverse.
Oh my god, god damn it,
We
Miro.
need to get
Fuck.
him back. That's why I'm praying to God every week.
Man, Miro would be a great challenger for Hangman. He would be fucking amazing, bro. Miro challenging Hangman is would make for a great storyline as well.
That would be another great program, and AEW needs to be careful with Page here. You don't need to fail him as a baby face here. Make him little credible.
Yeah,
Be little cautious about his booking. We don't want
yeah,
a baby face being no like the crowd shouldn't be get tired about this babyface world champion. Like it is very tough to
yeah, yeah,
book
exactly.
babyface world champions these days. Like there have been some I could say one or two guys that have sticked out. Moxley's world title run was good, even though it was in a pandemic era where there were no fans, but
Hmm.
it was good for a babyface guy to get the world
Agreed,
title.
agreed. Totally agreed.
So we could do something like
I
that.
agree.
Be a little cautious, put him in some meaningful feuds. That Miro thing is intriguing. That would be great, but still need some good investment for the Hangman, right?
I mean, even if Miro is still injured, I think the least Miro could do is come out for segments and confront Hangman and just I don't know, come out to attack Hangman once in a while or some shit like that. I Even if he can't wrestle for now, like maybe he can like I said about Omega, Miro can also finally, if he's fine by then. I don't know how bad his injury is. If he's fine by then, he can finally wrestle in the main event for Double or Nothing.
And the great thing is that there are multiple guys that you could have a placeholder feud, like you said, as we get to the big ones, either MJF or Punk. Like you could put Keith
Yeah,
Lee
yeah.
in there if you want to.
Mm,
I
Keith
know.
Lee also I feel is too early.
Hmm.
Uh, I think somebody like Ricky Starks maybe.
I don't know. He is a good one, but yeah, that would make sense in the heel babyface dynamic.
Yeah, yeah. Because honestly, I don't want a babyface challenging Hangman. Because AEW have fucked up a lot when it comes to face versus face booking. I have noticed that. I really want them to stop doing face versus face. Their face versus face matches make absolutely no sense to me.
In terms of the wrestling, it makes sense, but I get your gist when it comes to stories and stuff.
Because I mean, problem is like they have done table spots in face versus face matches, which is, and not just once, but like at least two, three, four times. I don't even know. Like it's that's just not how it's done. I mean, I may sound like a fucking old-fashioned person, but come on, man. Like face versus face. There's okay. When it was CM Punk versus Eddie Kingston, sure, a table spot in that match could have made sense. I mean, they didn't. Did they do a table spot? I don't remember.
That was a
But if they
fight,
had
bro.
done one,
That was a legit
oh
fight.
yeah, but exactly, and it was between two babyfaces who hated each other. So, like any spot in that match would have made sense. But let's go with Sammy Guevara versus Dustin Rhodes 2 months ago, or Jurassic Express versus
Lucha Bros.
Lucha Brothers 2 months ago. Yeah, all of these were face versus face matches, and yet there were table spots in that. What? Why? There's no hatred between the two parties. There's no like ongoing storyline of feud between them. Then why the fuck are you putting the other one to tables? Makes absolutely zero sense. Just to get a pop from the crowd? No, sorry, this is terrible booking. Just either do heel versus heel or face versus heel. Just forget about face versus face.
Let's see what happens. But that was revolution for you. Really great pay-per-view.
Yes.
And they delivered it on all promises. But couldn't. I think they would never, as of now, would never reach the level of All Out. All Out for me was special. For me, it was slightly better than Revolution. Overall, great pay-per-view. And let's see how Double or Nothing turns out, man.
I mean, I think I liked All Out better than Revolution, and Full Gear obviously was my favorite one. I mean, Revolution was okay. I mean, it was good, nice, but ultimately, a bit too long, and had some matches that didn't need to be there.
So that was the review part of the portion, and as we wrap things up, by the way, what else are you doing? Will you be watching WrestleMania?
I will, yes. I think that's the only WWE pay-per-view I am going to be watching anymore, because I don't think there's anything else I'm really interested in, to be honest.
Yeah, you almost
I'll
watched a
just watch
WrestleMania
WrestleMania
show
for the
with this
fun of
one, so that would be just a filler.
it. I don't know. I just hope this WrestleMania is good, I mean,
Bro, it has
what
to
if
be good.
Cody
It
Rhodes
has Pat
debuts?
McAfee, it has Johnny Knoxville, it has Logan Paul. Like, what the fuck?
Johnny Knoxville and Logan Paul. Oh my god. Yeah, Logan Paul is going. See, Logan Paul is just there to be a punching bag for the Mysterio. That's pretty obvious.
I want Jake Paul to get into wrestling as well.
Yeah, like the Pauls. I mean, Jake Paul versus Logan Paul itself would be a interesting feud. Both of them don't know how to wrestle. Both of them beating the shit out of each other. It would pretty much turn into a shoot fighting match.
Hey, I know a good matchup for Jake Paul if he gets into wrestling.
Which would be
Jake Paul versus Nick Gage death match. GCW.
oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Fuck.
Let's do this.
I mean,
Let's make Nick Gage the biggest babyface in the world, not just wrestling.
oh my god, fuck. I mean, look, I have zero love for Jake Paul, but come on, man, come on, come on, Nick Cage is not the right person.
Let's. Oh wait. Let's stop that David Arquette match.
Oh fuck, oh my god, David Arquette. Why the fuck was he doing that? Just go back to doing the Scream movies, man.
I don't know, man. That's
Jesus
why. That's why. Let's put Jake Paul in there. I think he deserves it.
I don't know if somewhere.
Let's get him real publicity.
Oh man.
And
I mean, I would rather see Jake Paul beaten up by Bryan Danielson. Like, I mean, Danielson also pretty much has a shoot fighting style, right?
but
I would rather see that than like nobody deserves Nick Cage, man. Nick Cage, come on.
come on, man. If that happens, I will be the first member. I will join the MDK gang.
Oh my god, MDK. Oh fuck, murder. Like, okay, who the fuck came up with murder, death, kill, man? Like, I just need to know who.
It's the fan base, man. It's the Nick Gage fan base. It's MDK all day.
It sounds like something a fucking an edgy 13-year-old white boy would come up with, man.
Listen, man.
It's terrible.
Listen, man. In all seriousness, Love him, hate him. He has something going on for him. He has his loyal fan base that supports him. Good for him.
Mhm.
And there you go, man. But
Yes.
it's time we get the hell out of here, man. Where can these guys find you?
Uh, just on Instagram, and my handle would be Kavit91. That's KAVIT 91.
And you can
That's pretty
find
much it.
Slamhub Wrestling on Twitter at Slamhub Debut, Instagram at Slamhub Wrestling. You can catch this review on all the podcast platforms: Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcast, and Ghana.com. And this was the Revolution review, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.
Goodbye.